It is Bourgeois here, and today I'm going to show you how to make that sound you just heard. It's a great sound. Possibly you can use it for like a bass house track, or maybe like, I don't know, anywhere that has like distorted bass. You can get pretty creative with it. So to get started with this sound, by the way, this is using the Helm synthesizer. It's a free synthesizer that's available for both Mac and Windows. It might be available for Linux, I gotta make sure. But you can do a quick Google search on that, and it's a great synth. It's super flexible. I highly recommend it. So to get started, one of the first things you want to do is you want to move over to the Oscillator tab. You want to have the sine wave and the triangle wave selected. You also want the transpose up to 1 semitone and on the first oscillator, and you want the voices up to 5. You also want on the second oscillator, you want -48 on the transpose, and you could just leave the voices alone on that one. Moving on down to the sub oscillator, I actually have the it is called the 9 pyramid waveform selected, and I would also look at the sort of mixer right here. You can kind of see the different volumes. These are going to be like the sub one's actually going to be modulated, but you can kind of just roughly get this volume in. You can see the numbers as I hover in, and that kind of gives you that. Moving over to the feedback, we have the transpose is up to 1, and the tune is at -100. The amount is at -100. And then you can move over to the distortion tab, make sure that's on, and you can select linear fold, and the distortion drive is at -13.2. Now you can move over to the amplitude envelope. You can kind of see the different values I have. The attack, it's pretty snappy, you know. I think it's up just a little bit. It's ramped up slightly, and the decay is up pretty high. The sustain's up. The release is up just a little bit. Over to the filter envelope, you have the decay, or the attack, I'm sorry, is all the way, I believe it's all the way to 0, so it's just, you know, has the punch, and the decay is up just a little bit, the sustain's up a little bit, and the release is actually up a little bit more. And so you can, we're actually going to use these to plug in and modulate along with the mono LFO down here. So I should show you the filter before we do that. And so you want the 12 selected, and the filter blend can be set all the way to the left, and the cutoff is set to let's see, what is that, 70.64 semitones, and the key tracking's turned down to -100. Moving on to the filter envelope section. So in the filter envelope section, this is where we're going to start doing some of the modulation part. Now for the modulation part, this is a little bit weird and seems a little bit overlappy, and I think that really has to do with the sound design process that I used. When I made this sound, I was just kind of experimenting, so keep that in mind. But you might want to just, I would go along with everything I did, and then you can adjust it just to make sure that the sound comes out correctly. So one of the first things you want to do is go over to the filter envelope modulation thing. You can click on the little Helm logo that reveals what modulation has been, you know, started essentially. And right here, there's this slight ramp up here, if you notice, on the filter envelope. It goes up to about there. You can adjust it if you want. I ended up putting it there. The other thing I have here is, you notice this one has the green selection. The volume of the sub is being pushed down. If you notice that, you see that? It's being pushed down and back up. I don't know if that really made a difference on the sound, but you can tack that on there as well. And then that's basically about it. I have this sub oscillator shuffles at -1.34, something like that. Don't think you really need that, but you could try it and see if that helps, or if that does anything. This was up just slightly, that you can adjust as well, the distortion drive amount. Some more modulation is going to be taking place in the filter envelope. So if you click on that part, you actually see a slight overlap. See, like right here, there's the filter cutoff is up just a tiny bit, and the sub again is being pushed down. There's some more though. So if you go over to the sub oscillator, where you would select the different sub oscillators, I'm actually modulating that, so it's actually sweeping through all of the different waveforms when you press down the sound. And also on the transpose, if you look at this, it goes on going like 64 semitones, so I just dragged it all around till I got this kind of like sort of clock looking side of like thing, looks like a clock. And let's see, I think that was it for the modulation on the amplitude envelope. The last part that's really important, that gives you the real movement for the sound, if you hear it kind of does this wobbly sound. That wobble is being created from the mono LFO 1. It's set to 1.4. You can, that's totally to taste. Like, you don't have to have it synced if you don't want to. Depends on like the effect you want. And I have that modulated just right here to the filter cutoff, and that's what's making it go back and forth. And it is also, keep in mind, the sine wave is being turned down a little bit, so it's not as abrupt and as drastic. It's a little more smoother. And that basically covers the sound. If there are any questions or anything you want to ask, or sound tutorials, any types of sounds you want me to make, anything, feel free to leave a comment. And I hope you found this video helpful. I hope this helps your sound design endeavors, or maybe even if this just helps spark some other types of inspiration for anything. I thank you so much for watching this video. I will have some more tutorials up very soon. Until next time.